This is the demographic fait accompli of where this country is going. And it is, the Senate is a microcosm demographically where this country is going. And I'm going to say it again. Unless the Republicans, it's not just soul searching, reinvent themselves.
Well, but
it's not going to work for them.
Gene, this isn't really that radical of a revelation. I've been noticing it on the campaign trail. I've been saying it for a very long time. In many ways, the country is becoming more libertarian. They're saying, stay out of my pocketbook, stay out of my wallet, stay out of my bedroom.
Which is an interesting observation because there are possibilities for the Republican Party, right?
Yes, there are.
The country has changed. It's going to be a majority-minority country at some point. It's not now, but you can't win without minority votes anymore. You have to pay attention to women's issues. Right. The same-sex issue that has the opposite effect now from what it used to. And if Republicans absorb this and learn these lessons and stop, frankly, this is another term of art, nominating wackos for Senate. Yeah. Then they're going to do, they're going to do fine, and that will be good for the country because there should be.
Primaries, though? I mean, is that what's going to happen? How do you cancel Republican primaries?
You know what happens this morning, and it's already happening in Washington. You're getting Republican leaders talking to outside groups, saying, let's not go down this path again. Yeah. But again, we've got to be very careful. Donna used the word progressive. You know what? There are a lot of Ron Paul supporters. There are a lot of libertarians. There are a lot of people that support small government. Believe it or not, this is shocking. There are fiscally conservative gay men and lesbian women who are waiting for an excuse to vote Republican if they will give them that excuse.
But Joe says a lot that this is not about moderation or conservatives giving up what they are. It's about redefining conservatism around what you believe, which is fiscal conservatism, but more moderate stances or less emphasis on social issues. Finding a way, with Latinos, that they're a natural constituency, the likes of Jeb Bush believe, for a Republican Party. But it's about redefining that conservatism in a way that fits with where the country is.
And Joe, it's interesting. I hate to say nice things about you because I don't really like you, but I'm not saying what you stand for, a fiscal conservative, social moderate, just right of center is where the country lives. And if they can get that right, and to Chuck's point, though, they got to get through the primaries. And in the primaries, you got the 15 to 20% fringe you're playing to. But that's where the wheelhouse is.
I've got to actually got to strip it down because I'll tell you what, I'm pretty conservative on guns as far as life goes and gay marriage.
Guns is a libertarian issue too, by the way. I mean, in many ways, this is about government's relationship with people.
I don't believe the federal government should get involved in abortion, should get involved in gay marriage. But I think, Chuck, it's more general than even that. It's being conservative ideologically. David, you're dead right. Be conservative fiscally, but temperamentally, be moderate, like Jeb Bush, like Ronald Reagan.
Well, but also this idea, you say temperamentally, do you believe if you get 70% of what you want that that's a victory? And do you believe that if you get 70% of what you want that is something your constituents will support? Yeah. Dick Lugar, I don't know. Warren Hatch, I don't know.
It'll be easier for this to happen if we can get a grand bargain and release some of the tension around taxes and spending and by the way, the size of our debt right now. Then it will become easier because there is a purity test and a lot of pent-up frustration that conservatives have about how big government has gotten.
By the way, if Boehner and McConnell are smart on this and reading all of them, they said they would take advantage of the lame duck and just force all the old guys to deal with this. Make them do with it and start anew.
Let us make no mistake, this morning after the election, government is too big. The entitlement system is broken. We spend too much on national defense. We shouldn't be spending $2 billion a week in Afghanistan. We can't keep spending the way we're spending. But Republicans need to learn one thing. Like Chuck said, what Chuck's 70% quote reminded me of Ronald Reagan's great statement, and conservatives write it down. Just because I'm your friend 80% of the time doesn't make me your enemy 20% of the time. They need to underline that Reagan quote and realize that sometimes you don't get 100%. sometimes you have to compromise.
It's also a huge challenge because it's not where the country lives. If you look at the country, there are more people who are pro-life out there than you would understand here in the city.
I'm talking about getting elected.
On to that
getting elected. Socially moderate, fiscally conservative, just right of center. That's where you get elected.
It's going to be a struggle.
And by the way, do it in Spanish.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm